I just got back from CES a couple weeks ago. That's the Consumer Electronics Show. It's the biggest tech expo in the world every year. This was my first time attending. It was a truly incredible experience, and I got to see so much cool tech coming out this year. I couldn't pass up the opportunity to make a big roundup video like this. Apologies for being a little bit late. I followed the CES tradition of getting super sick when I got back. I've been completely out of commission for the past week. Luckily feeling a lot better now. My voice might still be a little bit hoarse though, so just bear with me as we go through this. I've got a ton of stuff to cover. Did my best to categorize all of the different things into different sections. So we're going to be starting off first with some sort of everyday carry and kind of small portable tech. I definitely called it after talking about the Anker MagGo Slim a few months back in 2024. There were a ton of Qi 2 MagSafe power banks at the show that I'm really excited for. Specifically, there was one from AUKEY that I really liked. It's 5,000 milliamp hours of capacity, and it is super small and slim. Small and slim is always what I look for most over capacity and charging speed. It's great to have a little bit of everything here. Also from AUKEY were a couple of really unique chargers with built-in active cooling. First up is the GameFrost. This is a little MagSafe puck that sticks to the back of your phone with a built-in active cooling fan, so you can keep your device cool while you're gaming and charging your device, which is going to help it charge a lot faster, but it's also going to be really good for the overall battery health. You have a temperature display readout, which was really fun. Can't wait to get my hands on this to test to see if there's any significant difference between charging with or without the active cooling. AUKEY also had the MagFusion 3-in-1 charger that charges your Apple Watch, your AirPods, and your phone. Uses Qi 2 wireless charging. It has that same active cooling, but in a more permanent stand type of style. It's a little bit bulkier with those fans, but I think it's going to pay off just with the overall quality and polish and additional charging speed. For any fans of rolling square with the InCharge X and XL, I've been a long time huge fan of those. It's a 6-in-1 charging cable, so you can handle all of those older legacy devices. They had a few new things at their booth. They had the InCharge XS, which apparently was already out, but I was unfamiliar. It is the same as the InCharge X basically, but with 240 watts of charging instead of 100. But they also had the new AirCard Pro. This is a Find My wallet tracker. We've seen a ton of those, but this one has built-in, wireless rechargeable battery instead of the ones with disposable batteries or the ones that you have to plug in or anything like that. Really nice to see companies coming out with these rechargeable options, because without it, it's essentially disposable. It's not something I really want to use or talk about around here. Another 3-in-1 charger that really caught my eye was from Anker. It's a 3-in-1 folding Qi 2 wireless charger. I couldn't find any info about it after the fact in terms of specs or the release date or anything. I just had what was on the info card there when I was getting my footage, but this thing is absolutely tiny. It tri-folds flat into this little puck shape. So if you do have, an Apple Watch, AirPods, and phone, need to charge them all on the go, it has a USB-C plug on there. It looks really great and super tiny for travel. MOFT also had a few new things coming later this year. You all know I'm a huge fan of their invisible tripod. I have a ton of their gear and I use it all the time and love it. I don't have an iPad, but they do have a new iPad Folio coming that looks really promising. I just love the origami designs of all of their stands and cases and stuff like that. They're also releasing a new version of their wallet phone stand with built-in Find My technology. Super cool to see. What I'd love to see in the future is the invisible tripod wallet with the built-in Find My technology. So hopefully we'll see that down the road. And lastly, for this EDC tech type of category, there was a new AI assistant device that actually looked really amazing. I'm super skeptical of all of this sort of stuff, especially after seeing, the rabbit and the humane pin and all of that sort of junk. This was the first thing that really caught my eye and attention. It seemed like it had some real polish. The brand is called Natura Umana, and the device is called HumanPods. They're these little set of earbuds that you put in that have a built-in proprietary LLM. They call it AI People, and they have a few different personality options. This feels the closest like that movie Her, if anyone saw that, but in a little bit less of a creepy way. It seems super polished and actually useful. There's very little info on the details in terms of the pricing, the release date, the tech specs, all of that sort of stuff, but I'm definitely keeping my eye on this, and hopefully I will get a chance to try it when it's ready. The next category I've dubbed portable entertainment in my notes, kind of a broad spectrum, but starting off, there were some new models for the Lenovo Legion Go. I'm a huge fan of the original Legion Go, so it's awesome to see them making some updates and changes. First up is the new Legion Go S. This is a slightly smaller, more pared down version of the original Go. It has an 8-inch screen versus the original 8.8-inch screen, and you now have the option to run it fully through SteamOS if you want to avoid Windows. It's a lower res screen coming in at 1200p versus 1600p on the original Go, I believe. The only other physical feature change here was the lack of detachable controllers. I never really used my original Legion Go with the controllers detached, so not a big deal for me. But if that's something that is, important for you, you'd probably want to wait for the Legion Go 2 that we're going to get into in a second. The new S model actually doubles the RAM up to 32 gigabytes and uses the Ryzen Z2 Go chip instead of the original, Z1 Extreme. I think you're going to see a lot bigger and better battery life here compared to the original. I think the Go S is a huge win for folks that love SteamOS. I personally would love to use SteamOS, but I also am a huge fan of Game Pass, and I have a library on Epic and GOG. So it's not really something I would prefer over Windows. Windows is annoying, but I get a lot more flexibility and I have access to my full library and Game Pass. That's the most important for me. So if you're like me, you also have the new Legion Go 2 that was still in a prototype model, but hopefully should be working out and shipping this year. Similar to the Go S, you have double the RAM from the original, so 32 gigabytes. This uses the Ryzen Z2 Extreme chip, so it should be a lot more powerful than the Go S. You have an OLED screen on here that's also 1200p. Again, I think that resolution drop is going to be a huge help and not really noticeable in the quality. 74 watt hour battery with the lower screen and the new chip. Again, I think we're going to see a pretty big jump in battery life here as well. I'm super excited and can't wait to get my hands on the Go 2. I think I'm going to be skipping over the Go S and holding out for that. Also new from the Lenovo booth was the Legion 2 AR glasses. This is the second generation of their originals. I never got a chance to test those, but I'm glad to see them jumping on the bandwagon. More competition, more options is always a great thing, and I love this space. For AR glasses though, I think XREAL is the real champion of CES with the XREAL 1 Pros. These seem incredible, and they're a significant step up from all of my other AR glasses, and especially my previous XREAL glasses. They have a 57-degree field of view, which is by far the leader in this space. Usually that 40 to 48 is typically what you'll see from everyone. 57 is wild. They'll now have two options for sizing for IPD, so you can really tailor that and avoid the blurry edges that a lot of people experienced on the original. You have 120 hertz refresh rate inside, but the real cherry on top of all of this is their built-in chip. The X1 chip they developed essentially has all of the 3DOF technology built into it without a Beam Pro or any sort of additional device or separate app. So the smooth follow and the Anker mode for, Vitcher and XREAL and all of those brands, it's built into the glasses at the glasses level, which is huge. Less dongles, less extra devices. You can plug it into anything and it's going to work with all of those extra features, which is awesome. Shipping in March 2025 at $599, so definitely a pretty steep price point for all of this stuff, but it was really cool to see, and I'm really hoping I can get my hands on a pair to test. And lastly, for this portable entertainment category, I want to talk about the AURZEN Zip Projector. This is a little tiny trifold projector that fits into your pocket. It's about the size of your phone. This thing is wild, and I'll spoil it right away. I actually have a sample unit coming to me soon to be able to test and try. I can't wait for it. It's a native 720p display with 100 ANSI lumens, so not super sharp, not super bright, but considering the size, I think that is awesome. How you use it also seems really seamless and nice. It connects to your phone completely wirelessly through, some sort of AirPlay or actual AirPlay. I was unclear on the tech with how that works. I'll be sure to check it out once I get one in hand, but you don't need to, connect to a Wi-Fi network to use it or anything annoying and slowing down the process like that. It's essentially going to work like AirPlay, so super seamless, no extra cables or wires or anything like that. Battery is supposed to last for 90 minutes. It's a 5,000 milliamp hour battery. This thing just looks super cool and I can't wait to get my hands on it. Really quick before our next category though, I want to give a huge thank you to Bellroy for partnering with me on today's video and kind of talk about my experience bringing these along with me at CES. This is the Venture Travel Pack. It's a 26-liter backpack I got last year. It's instantly become one of my favorites, and after this trip, it's even better. And this This is the Bellroy Light Sling. Probably my two favorite products from Bellroy right now, and definitely the most used by far. Getting into the trip specifics though, I wanted to mention I was able to pass this as a personal item bag, which was great. It was kind of right on the cusp and kind of pushing the size limits there, but it fit under the seat well, and I didn't get flagged or have any issues or questions. So first check off, that was excellent. Secondly, I had this on the floor with me all day, every day, all week, carrying around stuff from the booths, carrying around camera equipment, all sorts of things, snacks, extra batteries, all of that. It was incredible and comfortable. I actually got a ton of compliments on it while I was on the floor as well, which is cool. Super comfortable. And you can tell, the more that you use it, the more thoughtful all of the design elements are. It's a gorgeous looking bag. All the materials have held up really well over time. Just 10 out of 10. Each time I take it out, I'm reminded how much I love it. But I also want to touch really quickly on the Bellroy Light Sling. This has been my daily sling bag for probably about a year now, maybe even more. And I just can't seem to get rid of it. I brought it with me to CES this year. It was great to have a smaller bag to take with me, at the end of the night when I was going out to any sort of events or things like that, grabbing groceries, anything, really nice just to have a small bag, throw it into your backpack. You won't regret it for your next trip. But the Light Sling is awesome. It weighs next to nothing and is held up really well. Like I said, I use this every single day. The material looks as good as it does on day one. I love this sort of like rust orange color too. It's excellent. Both of these really came in clutch for me during my week in CES, and just in general, I continue to use them and love them more and more with each passing week, month, year. I can't wait to see how they hold up in several more years' time, because they still look brand new now, after this extended session. Huge thanks again to Bellroy for partnering with me on today's video. Be sure to check these out in the comments down below. I've done a ton of work with them and have a few other gear recommendations as well. Happy to chat about it in the comments, but thanks again to Bellroy. Let's get into the next category. Next up, I've got a few desk, work, home office type of items, and first up might be my favorite item from CES, just blanket statement as a whole. It's the new LG Ultra Gear monitor. The model number is 45GX990A. This is a 45-inch 21:9 5K 2K OLED display that is bendable. I'm forever on the hunt for the perfect monitor for every situation for me, and it does not exist quite yet. I think this might actually be the one. It's a WOLED panel with an anti-reflective screen, but it is bendable on command. You can use it completely flat, or you can use it at a 900R curve, or anywhere in between. I think that is absolutely incredible, because I would love to have a curved display for my gaming, but I think it would really get annoying in some situations when I'm working. So having the option to switch back and forth between the two, I think is really incredible. And I love that you can fine tune the adjustments as well. I just can't wait to test this thing out. The 5K 2K resolution is huge as well. That's another problem I've encountered with a lot of gaming focused monitors that I've been looking at more lately, is they don't really have the resolution for a lot of my work. My time is split between working and gaming when I'm at my desk, and I need something to cover both, and that's a really hard thing to come by. So you have the resolution for work, you have all of the OLED goodness for gaming. You also have a higher refresh rate. This is one of those dual options. You get 165 Hertz with the full 5K 2K resolution, or you get 330 Hertz at full HD. I don't do any crazy competitive gaming to worry about the full HD 330. 165 is enough for me in general. I've been using the LG C2 for a while now, and I'm actually going to be testing out one of the Asus QD OLED panels soon too. I'm looking forward to seeing how that compares, but I'm a bit concerned on the 32-inch size versus the 42 that I'm used to. So seeing this at 45, ultra wide, it just kind of checks all of the boxes. I'm super excited. They didn't have a specific release date yet or a price. I can't even imagine. This thing is probably going to be super expensive, but I'm really hoping I can test it out, because I think it might be the one. We'll see how it goes, but probably my favorite item overall at CES. A couple of really cool things from UGREEN. They have a 500-watt Nexode desktop charger available now. They say it's the highest wattage option on the market, which is really cool. Honestly, it's a little bit overkill for me, But depending on the situation, I think this could be really useful. They have a USB-C port in there that will charge up to 240 watts. I think it's 6 total USB-Cs and 1 USB-A. It might be 5 in 1. I can't remember exactly, but this would be really great. You know, if you're working in a team, you need to charge multiple laptops, or say you want to charge your laptop and, you know, your Legion Go, and say you could even, you know, charge up an e-bike or something wild like that. So if you have a lot of those needs, being able to have that huge hub on the desk, I could see being really useful. You know, 200, 300 watts is probably enough for me, but I know for those edge cases, this thing's probably going to be awesome. Also new from UGREEN is their AI NAS system. So it is a NAS box, you know, similar to Synology or the previous UGREEN ones, but with a built-in LLM in there. This doesn't seem super useful for a lot of cases, you know, if you're running a huge Plex server or something like I am, but I do see some really good applications potentially for a work NAS system for me. You know, being able to search and find clips with AI makes things a lot easier if you're dealing with, you know, hundreds of gigabytes of data to try and pour through to find some random clip I took 2 years ago. You know, having all of that searchable and indexable with an LLM, I think would be really cool. So we'll see how things go. It's supposed to release in the first half of 2025. Definitely looks promising. Jumping back into Lenovo Legion, I also wanted to touch on the new 7i Gen 10 laptops because they look really great. I actually have the 7i Gen 9 and still use it very regularly. That thing has been great, but some of the new updates look super promising as well. New version for this year is 10% slimmer and 7% lighter. It has a 240 Hz refresh rate with a 1600p OLED. So they're finally upgrading it to OLED. Huge news for me. You know, once you get used to it, it's really tough to use IPS panels after a while. 145 watt TDP, and it's using the new 5070 laptop GPU. They also have the Pro models available. If you're fine with a little bit of chunk, you can get the 5080 or the 5090. I'm definitely going to be eyeing the, you know, regular 7i non-Pro this year to potentially make an upgrade for my current laptop. It's supposed to be launching in June, starting at $1599. Definitely be given some updates as I get them. One last bonus for this category I won't go too in-depth on right now. It's the Olight OSTATION X. This is a battery storage, charging, and health monitoring sort of device. I actually have one and I've been testing it, and I'm going to be talking about it in the next week's video, so I don't want to take up too much time here. It's really cool though to see. It handles AA batteries and it can store up to 32, and it charges them and stores them, and just is really cool. We'll get into it next week. I got a couple of speakers I wanted to talk about as well. First up is the We Are Rewind Blaster. This was a company I wasn't actually familiar with until CES, and I'm glad I found them. Super cool. They actually make, you know, handheld portable cassette players. There's a bit of a revival for cassette and tapes lately. They seem to be on the forefront of that with a handful of other brands, but they recently announced their new blaster. This is a cassette deck, Bluetooth stereo, you know, portable speaker. Tons of style. It's meant to look like the old boom boxes for your shoulder. I wasn't able to get, you know, a proper test of the sound quality or anything. It was dark and in a party environment, so maybe I'll be able to get a review unit to test out, but everything looks really promising and it just looks super cool. I do have one other one. This is the Brain X speaker. The Brain X isn't actually new. I've heard about this for a while. I think it was unveiled last year at CES, but they had a kind of slow process getting, you know, mass production going and having stock available, but it's fully available now, and this thing is incredible. I got to have a proper, you know, private test to hear the differences compared to some other speakers. It has truly brain-breaking levels of bass in such a small and compact speaker. The tech is a little bit over my head. I'm definitely going to be doing more research, but they have this proprietary technology called Repel Attract drivers. It uses some sort of magnet system for the subwoofer, so it's able to push air and move without needing as much space as a traditional subwoofer. Super cool stuff, but the key of it is the bass levels on this thing, you know, that sort of low sub bass is unlike anything I've ever heard in a small speaker of this size. I do have a sample unit coming to test and share with all of you soon. I can't wait for it to get here. I'm super pumped about it. I've been seeing more and more in the space of whole home battery backup, portable power station types of systems. I saw a couple here that look really promising. From Anker Solix, they have the X1 system. This thing looks super sleek. Whole home backup system with up to 180 kilowatt hours of capacity. Super wild to see such high capacities coming in more and more. There was also one other one from Bluetti. It's their Apex 300 power station. This is a little bit more straightforward and modular. The main unit is 2,700 watt hours of capacity, but it's expandable up to 58 kilowatt hours, which is really cool. I like the flexibility if you did want to take it camping and bring it back home with you to hook up for your home generator system. Having the option for both would be really cool, even though it's a little bit less sleek compared to, that Solix X1. And speaking of Anker Solix, they actually had something called the Solar Cloak. This was a wearable cloak solar panel. They didn't really have a lot of details or a launch date or anything like that, but it looked wild. It looked like some crazy techwear type of outfit. It's supposed to have, 30 watts of charging with a USB-C port built in. I'd be surprised if this actually launches, but it looked really cool and futuristic. I just had to mention it really quick. Next up, I just want to rapid fire a few other things that I thought were cool that didn't necessarily fit into the other categories. I didn't want to make this video an hour long, but there was just so much cool stuff I got to see and so much stuff I missed, honestly, too. There are a ton of really great looking e-bikes and scooters. I've been wanting an e-bike for a very long time now. This year might finally be the year I get one. I even saw a little electric scooter piece of luggage go around, which was very silly. But I did see an electric dirt bike that looked awesome. It had a built-in charger inside of the bike, so you don't need to lug around, a giant charger like you typically would. That thing looks super cool. I'd love to have that for camping. There was a brand called Ink Poster that had e-ink wall art that looked incredible. I love this idea. I'm a huge fan of e-ink stuff in general. There's also a moss wall humidifier type of thing from a brand called Moss Lab. I saw actually quite a few different plants and things like that. So really cool to see some greenery getting in all of our tech spaces. Almost made this into a long category, but there were a couple of really cool projectors. MagGo has the new O2S short throw projector. There was also one from Valerion that I thought looked really promising. Maybe I'll get a chance to review those this year. A couple of really great looking keyboards from Eppomaker and Eufy. There were a ton of robots all over the place, which was wild. I can't remember the company, but there was actually a company that makes an exoskeleton. There was a woman that was a paraplegic that was able to put on this exoskeleton and walk around without any assistance. Super cool. Not relevant for most of us, but just great to see those advancements in tech from a health perspective too. But a silly one to finish it off, there's this little personal flying device helicopter sort of thing. I would love to see someone flying around with that. They're going to get laughed and pointed at nonstop, but it would still be really cool nonetheless. I would totally do it. But that just about wraps it up. I had such an amazing time. I'm so glad I got to go. I've been wanting to go the past few years. I think it's going to be an annual tradition for me now, so I can see, what's to come for the future years. There was so much stuff I missed, though, I realized. So if, I didn't cover something that you were hoping I would, I apologize. I was just one man there, trying to do everything, and I was new and didn't really know what to do, where to go, all of that. Let me know what you'd like to see from any of this stuff this year. Let me know if you want me to cover anything that I might have missed in this roundup from CES or anything else in general. Let's chat down in the comments. Thank you all so much for watching, though, and I'll talk to you in the next one.
Yeah.